50s thing actually plays out perfectly in the equity market. When I look at the chart of now versus the 1950s, it looks very similar. And when I zoom out, it kind of suggests what's going ahead. You see, in the 1950s, their piece of magic was to keep financial repression going, keep the cycle going until productivity increased. And eventually productivity increased, financial repression helped to wear down the debts. And over time, the economy took off and we had the 50s and the 60s and then into the 70s. And that was a magic period for GDP growth because of what they did. And they're repeating it now. It's very clear to me that that is the game. That is the game the Japanese are playing, the game the Europeans are playing. Everybody's playing the same game. So we know the game. We know debasement of currency is the other game. So here we know that if we don't play their game, you're going to get fucked. If you invest in assets that don't beat the balance sheets, the 15% a year, you're going to be losing money every year. So it's really important that that is your hurdle rate. And when you look at that, you suddenly realize that most assets don't beat it. The S&P doesn't really beat it. Gold certainly doesn't. Real estate unlevered doesn't. Most things don't beat that debasement. So if you invest, knows they can't get ahead. So people have become speculative. Speculative is okay if it's not at the casino. If it's in a secular trending market like crypto technology, go for it. Just do it in the right way. So we see the rise of not only tech investing on Robinhood, but option investing on tech in Robinhood. That's the way, the lottery ticket economy, where people just don't feel like they have a choice. There's no way for them to get the 100, 200, 300 grand that they need to get in the property ladder or to feel like they've got the savings they need. So people are taking bets. But in a secular market, actually pretty intelligent risk taking. And options are pretty intelligent too. Over time, if you get it right, you have the right tools, you learn how to invest. It's one of the core things that we do at Real Vision is try and teach people how to do this. You can make money. Crypto has been even easier because the sheer magnitude of the moves means you just buy and hold it. You just own the highest quality assets and do nothing. I mean, doing nothing is really that easy. Has been basically giving you about 100% a year returns for the last 7 years, 8 years. It's actually higher if you go back earlier and Bitcartov. And owning a part of it means we have behavioral incentives to make it grow. So it grows faster than anything else. Because the more people who join the network, the more the value of the network goes up. The more applications get built on the network because of the value of the network increases the value of the network, and so on and so forth. This is why it's the fastest adoption of any asset class the world has ever seen. Asset class, AI is a technology, but of an asset class, this dwarfs anything else. The last numbers we saw, we were at 516 million wallets. And we've been growing, again, at like 50 to 100% a year. So we're going to double and double and double and double as this technology brings in the central bank digital currencies, the payment system, the how we trade and invest in securities, the rails of everything. And then it unlocks other things of what we can do with smart contracts. It unlocks a lot. And again, most of you just have, not most of you get it. And most of you start to make a lot of money out of this. And you're starting to understand. There's some of you who don't and don't want to get it. And that's okay too. I'm trying my GSC. I've gone through many of these, down 80%. And they don't bother me. In fact, I love them. I love them because I just buy more of the asset at cheap prices and it compounds over time, which is a tremendously strong strategy. So when you step back out of all the noise, our futures have been fucked. They've been fucked by too many people, and the government's trying to deal with it, and central banks trying to deal with it, creating unintended consequences everywhere. But out of that was the answer, the Bitcoin white paper, cryptocurrency. We're starting to see that now becoming more accessible to people in the TradFi world, obviously the ETF. And actually, crypto is and remains the biggest macro trend of all time. It's that big. If the Everything Code says they're going to debase the currency, and all assets are now correlated based on this cycle, Some are leading, the NASDAQ and crypto, really important. And this is David Matten and I writing The Exponentialist, and what I write in GMI, again with David as well, is how important this is. And how important it is because it's going to usher in the next part of this equation. So if you go back to what I said before, GDP growth equals population growth plus productivity growth plus debt growth. Debt growth's gone, finished. What they're doing is debasing the currency to pay for that. That's driving these assets up, creating some of the problems. The aging population, well, that's shrinking, and therefore productivity is going down. Why I really care about the exponential age and why you should all care is twofold. Firstly, at an investment level. At an investment level, this is the future of GDP, because you are going to change that formula by bringing in infinite productive units, humans, there is another risk on the horizon. We've kind of solved via the everything code how we can unfuck our futures, but I can only get you to 2030. And this is troubling me, is I live in the future and I've generally been following the same trends. If I've been following the same trend for 30 years, debt, demographics and deflation, but something is about to change. If the structure of economies is driven by population productivity, the rules don't apply. So I've got to a point where I've realized I think 2030 is the end of the entire economic regime that we've had the last 1,000 years or 2,000 years or longer. And that sounds ludicrous. We are not constrained by resources. Yes, there will be some resource constraints, but yes, the AGI will help us solve them. We'll be faster and faster at solving the constraints. AI will instantly solve supply chain, instantly solve electricity generation, grids, decentralized grids. There's so much that will change. If that is the case, then I don't know how investing works. So how I'm thinking of it myself, and I'm fortunate to have built some wealth, but I'm not the richest man in the world by far. But it applies to everybody, is I think we've got this period, this 6-year period, where we need to build as much wealth as possible because things are clear. If we've been given the greatest macro opportunity of all time, when everything is correlated and the everything code is driving everything, then let's take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, because after 2030, I don't know what it looks like. Humans are adaptive, and I've talked about this. I think it'll be more about social communities and how we add value to online digital networks, and it's a much longer conversation for another day. So I'm not worried about humanity per se. I'm just worried about the how to unfuck yourself bit. I think we've got this 6-year attention, they die. We'll see companies being built with one person. We won't need the amount of people, so everybody can build companies, and maybe they last. So it becomes like this meme economy, this ICO economy where things rise and fall, and the capital cycles are much shorter. I'm concerned, how does VC work in a world where AGI or just AI is iterating product companies' markets all the time? Things kind of blossom and then die. Some rise, but I think much less rise, because you keep getting disrupted. Everybody gets disrupted by each other in this kind of endless cycle. So I don't even know what, kind of the asset markets do. So how I've been thinking about it is, well, where do we invest beyond then? My general view, and I'll flesh this out in a much broader piece at some point, is that in the end, I'm actually thinking about just understands the buy and hold strategy in the right assets, crypto, technology. So we've got that, thank God. Crypto is the super trend. That is the biggest gift we've ever been given as an investment for all of mankind. I mean, I've expressed this so many times to you. You don't believe it when the market's down. Raoul's a moron. Why did he get us into that? Now it's back at all-time high. So, oh, he's a genius. No, it's the same bloody thing. I just bought and hold. I'm just the moron on the left of the bell curve. Just don't mid-curve it and don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up means don't try and do things you shouldn't be doing Just buy and hold a core group of good assets. Knock yourselves out on other stuff. The other thing is,